Okay, so I'm just going to respond to this comment in a video because we know that TikTok likes to cut people off. And I can't type a comment long enough. That being said, obviously no hate to this person. Don't go and start arguments with them. That's why I'm making this video, is so that I can explain it. I don't need y'all's help. This comment was left on one of my recent videos in regards to the fact that I was explaining that Medusa is not just a spirit of justice, but also revenge. And her vengeful and wrathful nature is seen in every single historical context that she has been put in, such as Roman retellings, Greek mythology, so on and so forth. Outside of that, though, I was explaining that limiting Medusa to those two comments or concepts is actually kind of problematic, and trying to separate her between them. And I was explaining the fact that Medusa's origins and roots do not actually come from Greek or Rome. They are way deeper than that. In fact, the worship and practice of Gorgons goes way deeper than that. Like, to the point where it predates Greece within itself. And within the actual worship and practice of Gorgons, they were seen as vengeful. They were seen as fiercely protective. They were seen in a lot of spotlights that you don't get to see them in under Greek and Roman mythologies. And the biggest reason is because, one, the origins of Medusa and who Medusa is was completely stolen by Greece and Greek mythology and incorporated into their own mythology and practice. Arguably, almost all of it was, if not all of it, but that's a whole different discussion. Medusa was an adaptive character to Greek mythology. The Greeks saw her and they saw Gorgonic practices and decided to utilize her as the monster or villain in their stories. But like I said, the worship of Gorgons goes way deeper than Medusa herself. But that's why in Greek mythology, she's considered the queen of Gorgons, because her sisters were included and the entire system of Gorgons. And that's because, once again, Gorgons existed outside of Greece way before Greece even existed. Gorgons originated within African spirituality and practices. Medusa's cave within itself, said in Greek textbooks, in Greek context, was found in Africa. Statues that were utilized within rituals of hers were found in between Greece and Africa within the rivers. Medusa is not a Greek spirit, but she was adapted or adopted into Greek practices and Greek mythology. Is there a problem worshiping her within a Hellenic path or as a Hellenic practitioner? Absolutely not. Is there a problem laying honor to the version of her that was retold by the Romans? No, absolutely not. In fact, it's not even necessarily seen as disrespectful to utilize her like a tool, like it is seen in Greek mythology. But you also have to understand that wearing her head for protection is not working with her, and it's not worshiping her. And it's not even paying respects to her. Because that's what the Greeks did, because once again, she was seen as a tool. She was also seen as a monster and a villain. And I've talked about that so much, and that's why I always leave the question of, in Greek mythology, there are so many gods that are so loved and worshipped so heavily that were so much more horrifying and monstrous than Medusa could ever be in Greek mythology, such as Demeter turning into that giant bear spider thing and, trawling through the fucking underworld. But you'll notice that all of the spirits that originated within the Greek mythology are seen as heroes, and they're worshipped for their monstrous forms, or how scary they are, or whatever. But then you bring a spirit from a whole nother origin, a spirit that originated from BIPOC practices and spirituality, and she's the villain that is demonized, the one that is used as the tool, one that is beheaded and seen as something that you do not worship and you do not respect, you do not honor, you use her. That is what I mean by whitewashing and watering down the spirit of Medusa and all of who she is, by limiting her to the concepts that only came from not only Rome's retelling, but Greek's origins. Because Greek mythology's origins did not originate in Greece, because spirits like Aphrodite or Medusa were around before the country of Greece even existed. Anyways, I hope that helps explain that there are so many sides to Medusa that limiting her in one way is, in my opinion, considered more disrespectful. Especially when you're limiting her to specifically the concepts in which she did not originate in, but was rather stolen from, and dare I say, appropriated, at least in the beginning. That is all for now. Bye, guys.